Welcome back, everyone, to another podcast. Yes, we are back with another podcast. As you can see, my members are there. Huge shout out to my members, by the way. If you guys want to sit in the podcast, say your thoughts right there on the screen as I'm reading your notes or as I'm reading your comments, consider becoming a member. You can sit in, you can chill, you can relax with us because we hanging out having a good time. But again, huge shout out to you guys, not only because you guys help support the channel and the content that I create, but I was late I pushed the podcast recording back a few hours. So I'm actually glad that you guys are able to come. This is not going to be a regular thing, but just wanted to say thank you guys for coming because this is about, it's a few hours later than I usually record it. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for being here. And I know some of you guys might have to catch up later because it's so much later. But anyway, let's go ahead and hop into the podcast. Again, if you want to be a member, if you want to sit in like everybody else is doing, give your live comments, have me read them live, because this is not live. It's a recording of me streaming it live to the members. Consider becoming one. So let's get into it. Let's hop into it. Whew. So season 6, we already realized it's been pretty decent, I think, more or less. Better for people that have been playing for a while, not so much for people that haven't. There's been a lot of cutbacks for new players and stuff like that. But I think we realized that, or I think they realized that, not a lot of new players are coming, and it's not really important to focus on them. Yes, they're still coming, obviously, but just not as much. So I don't think they need to put any effort there. I actually can't tell you where the background's from, but you guys could guess yourselves. But I think somebody will know, especially Poke. So, but we'll see. We'll see. If you guys know what it is, let me know in the chat when you guys are watching it. But we already know that that's going to come. Now, the one thing that we noticed is that we're not getting multiple season racers. At least we weren't told we're getting multiple season racers. And there wasn't any leaks to it or data mines to it. I always tell you guys not to believe so much into the leaks and data mines, just because sometimes they're false. And sometimes they're right? Even, no matter the game, sometimes they are right. But better not to get your hopes up and then be happy when it comes versus like, oh, it's coming and it doesn't, and then you feel worse. So, but we haven't really had anything like that come for this new season, right? It's only one character. So that led me to believe that there's possibly another track. Now, we do have the underwater theme for Ariel's track. I think they're probably making a space track for Eve, and they will most likely have like the anti-gravity thing, basically what we had in the underwater. Maybe that's a test. Maybe it's not, though. Who knows? But it would make a lot of sense if they are just releasing one character this season. Speaking of that one character, we are going to have it soon, for the reason being that she is definitely needed in a chapter. So the fact that we're going to need her in a chapter means that we're possibly going to need more time, or like more time for the event, or it's possible that we just get it for free. I don't really see Gameloft just giving us a character for free, but maybe it will have unlock packs. I think one of the ways, again, Gameloft is very, very smart when it comes to like earning money. And so I think that this may be a way, if you give people the character as the same time the chapter unlocks, they might be more inclined to pay for it because they're already doing it and they want to hurry up and have it, especially for the completionists and at least me. Maybe not in you guys, but I'm a completionist. I'll do every single side quest before I even think about the boss. Oh, the world's going to end in 3 days. Poppin', you got to help us. But Mary lost her little sheep, and she said she'd give me 3 carrots if I find it. So, I mean, I'm just saying decisions. So with that in mind, I think that might be the way. It's a lot easier to get us to pay for something if it's right there in front of our face, rather than like, okay, here's the event, and you can wait for it to release at the exact same time. So I think that may happen. I know in the past, in the last season, we didn't really have any unlock packs. I think we had one, and I believe it was for Oswald, but Hortensia didn't have one. So that is my thought process, but we are going to get her soon. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to backtrack for us that likes to do the time trials and maybe doesn't want to pay. We might have to skip this node and come back, which is not necessarily bad. That's not bad at all if you have to skip it and come back. But, you know, I think a lot of players, especially those that pay, don't want to do that, and they will get more sales kind of doing it that way. Now, I had a thought for this Eve event. Now, I hope they don't do this, but hear me out. We know that this season is a lot less free-to-play friendly. So I'm wondering if in order to unlock Eve, it's going to be a community event, which means that it's not regulated, and you're not using Eve, you're using Wally to unlock Eve. So if you don't have Wally, you're not unlocking Eve. Look, I hope they don't do that. But we've seen some things through these seasons where it wouldn't surprise me a lot, actually. I would probably be like, that was kind of expected. If they don't do that, again, I hope they don't. But if they don't do that, then I wonder what the percent will be for people. Because the less players that play, the lower the percent's going to drop. And we have players obviously not playing anymore. We have new players coming that stop playing. And through the seasons, you know, you've seen it drop. We went from everybody gets the character to like only the top 80 get the character to like only the top 15 get the character, or what have you. I think it's top 25. I don't really remember the number. But regardless, you know, we've been through some percentage changes, and we've been through some character given to everybody changes. And I think it just depends on how much money they might be making through each season, where it's like we got to do more to make money. I always say I don't think Gameloft is malicious about it. You know, you got to make money some way. If you're not getting money one way, you're going to have to try to figure out another way, or the game's going to shut down. And I don't think they want it to shut down. I would think that this game probably helps bring in a lot more money than their other games, but who knows numbers. I would say, wait, Dreamlight Valley though? No, I think Dreamlight Valley brings in some money. How many of you guys actually purchase in-game items from Dreamlight Valley? I feel like I'd be more inclined to buy from Dreamlight Valley shop because I've seen some of those things. Now, I haven't gotten super deep into it, but Dreamlight Valley low-key cracked. It's low-key cracked. I know that they were supposed to make it free to play, but you know, that didn't happen. But anywho, I was just curious. Like I said, I'd be more inclined to buy stuff from their shop. I don't think there's any like pay to win aspects to Dreamlight Valley. And even if it were, it doesn't really matter because it's for you. It's your little island, so to speak. But back to the topic at hand. It's a podcast. We chat, we chilling out, chats there, we hanging, we having a good time. I can't get off topic sometimes. So yeah, if that were to happen, I'd be shocked, but I wouldn't be too shocked. And most of us probably already have Wally, but again, we already know that some of you guys only have like 5 shards. Some of you guys only have like 8 shards, right? And this event needs level 15. So you should be able to get level 15 with 1 star. I'm pretty sure that that's the level cap unless they change it, which I don't think they do. I mean, I don't know. I've always had 2 stars. So I've never really had 1 star for like, I don't know how many seasons, but I'm going to assume they did not change that because that'd be kind of whack. So 1 star will be enough for you to get this. You're just gonna have to level up and get those materials, which you can easily do in ranked, and you can also get 2 stars in ranked. So that's not much of an issue really, if you really need Wally. It's for the players that don't have Wally. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Not only would it need Wally, but it would also be unregulated. Like an unregulated Wally event. Bro, my Wally is 2 stars. I lied, it's 3. My Wally is 3 stars, so maybe it skims by, but I know a lot of players have some 4 or 5 star Wallies, and if you're a new player, you're definitely having a 1 star Wally, which means you're definitely not getting Eve, you're getting a few shards. Then if they drop an Eve event, and they're like, hey, you're gonna need to use Wally for this event too. Oh God, oh baby. And then if they're like, oh, you also gonna need to use Ursula, it's like, bro, Ursula's not even out yet, what are you talking about? Okay, that last one's troll, but I think they might actually do some stuff like that. I know it'd be a little bit crazy, but I think they might actually do some stuff like that. Let's take it to the chat. Let's see what you guys think. What's your thoughts on there? Let me get a little bit of little. What? This is what happens when I record late, I guess. Just randomness. Claire says, I'm so excited for Eve. Yeah, I think Eve looks really cool. I think whenever they put a character in a Disney Speedstorm, they always look the par, and they always like feel the par too. And I like that. I like that a lot. I think they put a lot of detail into how it looks in the movies. Or they put a lot of detail in how the character looks like in the movies or in their show, and a lot of that goes to show, and that's what I really like about it. They're not really a game. I don't know if it's really a company thing, but they're not really the ones when they do Disney stuff. I've noticed with their other games, Gameloft isn't really the type of company that will just copy and paste. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to Disney, they really do like their best to really bring that character to life. Now, we can't say that Eric looks like Aladdin. Look, I'm just saying they could be brothers. But to be fair, they're like basic looking characters anyway. So, and they're old characters, which means that, you know, they weren't really developed in 2020 something. But yeah, for the most part, they put a lot of effort into their animation and stuff like that. So yeah, anybody who likes Eve, you won't be disappointed, I'm sure. She's gonna be great. Her abilities look extremely broken too. So if you like broken characters, yo, that looks nasty. I wonder when they're gonna drop the event. Yeah, I'm curious too. I wonder if it's gonna be this Friday coming up, or if it's going to be this Monday. Will we do it on a Monday? I feel like if we did it on Friday and looped back to Friday, that'd be better than if we did it on Monday and looped back to Monday. I wonder if they're gonna do it in like an order of like dropping the map first. If we're gonna get a map, it's just, I don't know. But I wonder if they're gonna drop the map first and have that be like an event, and then they're gonna drop the Eve event later. So you know how we had 2 or 3 characters this season, they would like sprinkle it out. I wonder if for this one they're like, okay, here's a map, that's an event. Here's the character, that's another event. That way the map can kind of hype up for the character, bring more players back that might want to buy Eve or something like that, and then, you know, hype it up along the way. I feel like if they just dropped Eve now, I feel like they could be missing out on potential sales, which we know they like, and nothing's wrong with that. But I feel like they're gonna need to do something to bring a few people in, and then, like, you know, pop off the event that way. I feel like if they just drop it with the player base they have now, they might have a missed opportunity of getting some more people in to be excited for it. Kind of like they did Wally. You know, they kind of hyped up Wally before they released Wally. Poppin is correct about having a new map as well. We'll have to wait for an update to download. The thing about Gameloft is they tend to put the things in the game before we even see it, and then they just flick the switch. So the map could already be in the game. Now, we already do know that sometimes when they put stuff in the game, we can see it, and it's like, oh, we can see the characters. Oh, we can see the map. Oh, we got it early. I think that's intentional. I don't think Gameloft is. I don't really know how to say this properly, but I don't think Gameloft is that bad at developing where they have this many mistakes. They intentionally do a lot of things to get you hyped before it happens. New characters or new maps that you guys see early, that's intentional. I almost put money on that. That's intentional. They're not that bad at their jobs. They definitely want you to see stuff early, so that way when the event drops, you're more hyped about it. So the map could possibly already be in the game, and they just got it shut off right now until further notice. But who knows? Who knows? No way it's already in the game without anyone finding it. It's literally, I just said that. And that update will indicate Eve is coming. I mean, like I said, I think it's already in the game. If that's that. We don't really get that many updates, but we'll see. Especially because that gravity thing is there, I wouldn't be shocked. But again, I don't think they're that bad at their jobs. I'm pretty sure that if they wanted you guys not to see anything, you wouldn't see anything. They're not bad. They're not that bad, I would assume. I'm super curious to see the event requirements they changed last season with low percents. Yeah, I'm curious to see the low percents too. I really want to know, how low are we going to go? Are we going to go top 1%? Are we going to go top 10%? Are we going to go top 15%? Like, where are we going? Again, the more players we lose, the harder it gets for everybody, regardless. Not just because they lower the percent, but it also gets a lot harder just because less people in a bracket means that you have to get, it's harder to get to the top percent. You know what I mean? Let's just say top 5%. There's, I don't know, 1,000 people. Well, if there's only 500 of those people, the top 5% numbers are now harder to get into. The more people that are here, the easier it is for you to get into those percents. So they're going to have to kind of give and take with that. But they're the only ones who can see the numbers. So we can only really see Steam numbers. All right, let's hop into the next topic. That is just the news on Eve. And that's just what I wanted to talk about. The next one that we have is Ursula. So young Ursula, young, I almost called her young E. But young U, that sounds horrible. Look, young E, we just call it Ursula. There's no E in her name, but we go call her E. Ursula is now free to play and regulated. I'm kind of shocked, to be honest. Not because I thought it was like bad. I think it's pretty cool that they're putting it in regulated. But I was more kind of shocked that it came so soon. You know? I didn't expect it to come that soon. I thought it would come a little bit later. But it's cool because we got to play her, we got to see what it's like. For me personally, I think her abilities are a little lackluster compared to the cast, but they look cool. So that's just how I feel personally. But I will say that, like I said, they put a lot of effort into how these abilities feel and look for like the character. And that's the thing that I always kind of think about. It's like, which direction are we let me make sure to loop this. Which direction are we going for towards these characters? Like, are we eventually just stopping? Because I know with Frozen release, they made it so the characters are a little bit more balanced. I mean, eventually once you start them up, they were just nuts out the gate. But these characters kind of feel nuts out the gate aside from Ursula. And so I wonder kind of the direction they're going with their characters. Like, are we now going into the realm of like, just make the ability look cool? And if it matches the character, that's that? I mean, is there any character in Speedstorm currently that doesn't have their abilities match the character? Because these abilities for these characters, they look pretty akin to the movie. Like, they look like if they were actually to drive in a cart, they would use these same abilities. But I don't know if there are many characters that don't have an ability that looks like what they would do. But I do know the Little Mermaid is more magical compared to a lot of the other things that we've seen. If we think about Lilo and Stitch, if we think about Toy Story, if we think about Frozen, we think about Little Mermaid. Like, Little Mermaid is the more magical season of them all in terms of what things look like. So maybe that's the direction they're going in now. But I do know there was supposed to be leaks or data mines about Muppets coming, which is, I feel like, is an interesting choice. I'm not saying Muppets is bad, because I grew up on some Muppets, but I feel like there could have been another choice. I feel like Muppets probably shouldn't be the next one. Out of all like the movies and the series and shows and whatnot, we went with the Muppets. If that's true. Do they even fit in this thematic, by the way? That feels so out of the realm of Disney Speedstorm. Am I crazy? What do you guys think? Do you guys feel like that's like out of the realm of Speedstorm? Like, if you look at all these characters, they look like they can play that, like they can drive a car. But Muppets? Would they look good? Do you think Disney Speedstorm will just go in the direction of, we'll just drop characters in the game no matter if they fit or not? Look, I don't know. Again, that's just me. But you guys might be like, dude, poppin'. There's Muppet racing movies already. There's Muppet racing shows already. It's like, dude, my bad. I'm sorry. But, oops. But for me, I don't know. I would rather have like The Incredibles. Like I said before, I feel like that'd be really cool. And I feel like that would definitely be something. And then I seen there was a leak or data mine of, again, it could not be. It's possible that it's not true. But I did see another one where it was supposed to be, I think, Bug's Life. Again, not sure that that's a racing like type, right? So do you guys think that we might just head into the direction of, that's pretty much it? Are we just gonna drop more Disney characters in there? It doesn't really matter where they're coming from. It doesn't matter what they're looking like. Boom, boom, boom. But if they do that, I think they can drop more characters, right? Like, if they don't look for the actual right one to fit the game, they could just drop a lot more characters and we could just have a lot more characters to play, even if it doesn't fit. But that's rough. Would you actually want that? Or would you rather have your characters partake in actually the vibe and the feel of Disney Speedstorm? That's a hot take. I'm curious to know in the comments below what you guys think. Because that's interesting. I think for me personally, I would just rather keep it more Disney Speedstorm like thematic. I know that there was something saying that a lot of the characters that we have now kind of just popped from Dreamlight. So if that were the case, I don't think the Muppets are in Dreamlight, and I don't think Bugs Life is in Dreamlight. But again, I haven't gotten that deep into Dreamlight, so I don't know those things. I also noticed, just side note here, I also noticed that for the new players, you guys might not be able to see a lot of these events, and you guys might not be able to complete a lot of these chapter nodes. I noticed in chapter 3, it's asking for Figment, which you might not have, but I know there was like an event plus like a box you can roll to get them, but I don't know if you guys will roll that. I mean, if you're free, you're not. So I don't know if you guys have that, but I know I have two. Well, I actually have 3 like alternate accounts for Disney Speedstorm, just because it's a nice way for me to test what the new players are feeling and stuff like that. And for 2 out of the 3 accounts, I don't have any limited events unlocked, so I don't see what you guys see, which I feel like is a huge problem, because then the newer players are like intentionally being gated for a while. I don't remember how long it takes to get those events, to be honest with you guys, but I don't know if new players know that they're being gated. I'm gonna assume it's not that long. Again, I don't remember. It's been a hot minute since I've like played on an alt in terms of like for more than 4 or 5 hours. But I know I played on both of those accounts for about 3 or 4 hours, and I still don't have those events unlocked. So for you new players out there that might see Eve drop, just make sure you're getting a little bit further into the game, because you might not see that event. There's only some events you'll see, and I think the events that you see are ones you can't even complete anyway. So just be very mindful of that. Try to get your progress like going, because you guys will be missing out on some events if you guys don't hurry up and get yourself to like the middle part of the game. I don't know how long it's going to take. Maybe it's a collection level thing. It doesn't even tell you, but just heads up from someone who has a couple of alternate accounts. All right, let's move on to the next topic here. Speaking of events, limited events. So we do have some limited events going on right now. And again, just kind of another side note, these are events that I cannot see as a new player that I have on those 2 accounts. I can only see them on my main account, obviously, and then like the other account that's not too, it's not too new. It's like okay. It's been around for a season, I guess you could say. Now, some of these events that you guys notice, they are pretty rough. I mean, Buzz, you're not gonna have Buzz if you're a new player. Daisy, you're not gonna have Daisy if you're a new player. But the boxes are in the shop for you guys to roll and for you guys to get. Again, we already know that this season is far less free-to-play friendly. We do know that this season is more pay-to-win friendly. Or I don't mean pay-to-win. I mean, the game is pay-to-win, but that's not what I meant. It's more pay-to-play friendly. So when you do play this game, I know I get some comments from you guys that are like, well, you know, I'm a free-to-play player and I've been able to grind a few things. And that's true. You are able to grind a few things, but you will be missing out on a lot depending on when you start. So if you started this season, there's a lot you won't do, especially like I said, you won't see these events. You won't be able to complete these events. You won't be able to complete certain chapters. And I was shocked that it's asking you for a Figment in like chapter 3. That's super early to me. That's mega early. I don't even want to know what these next chapters are. I know you guys know, but I didn't take a peek. But I don't even want to know how deep we're going to go and what they're going to ask for, because that's wild. That's wild. Zaya said, I feel the same way. She was fun to race as, but the unique abilities don't feel as satisfying as the other racers. Yeah, that's what I was saying with Ursula. It was like, she looks very good in terms of the abilities, but I definitely think that the effectiveness probably was dropped down a little bit. But yeah, like... And I'm not saying that we need all of the events to be free to play, or not free to play. I'm not saying we need all the events to be for like all new players and whatnot. I'm not saying that at all. But again, it's interesting to see that there are basically no new events for the players. Now you could say pop in, they do have the racer boost and they can get all these characters with the racer boost. Well, how long do you think would a new player continue to do that? I notice a lot of new players are actually shocked that they don't have an ability at 1-star. Do you guys feel like they should have an ability at 1-star? Do you guys feel like they should just scrap that 1-star system and be like, hey guys, you can have your abilities at 1-star now? I feel like that would help a lot. I feel like a lot of players that come into the game, they would probably stick around for a little bit longer if they could have an ability. Because I think all of them are genuinely shocked when they're like, how do I get the ability? Where do I get the ability at? And I don't even think they explain that to you. I think you have to just go in the menu and just see it or have someone tell you. But I do think they should drop that. I don't even know the reason to not give people abilities at that 1-star, to be honest. We also still have 2 chapters to go before we can unlock her. I'm assuming Eve. Most of my excitement is already gone. Super hyped for Eve, though. Oh, I see what you mean. 2 more chapters you can go to unlock Ursula. Same here. Eve appeals to me more too. Yeah, I think with Eve, like I said, I think she's definitely one of those characters where they did their homework. You know, I think the limited event characters are like, that's like GOAT. Like, I think all the limited event characters are amazing. I think all the limited event characters are amazing for sure. But with that being said, with these events, like I said, you might not see some of these in the shop, but I am curious because I didn't check in the shop. Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so you guys don't see these events as a new player? I don't think this one. I don't remember too hard specifically this one, but there are some events you're missing. And I think it's weird that the box is in the shop, but you don't see the event. I feel like they should just let you see the event, but maybe it's more of like they don't want to overwhelm you because sometimes there's like 10 or 20 events all at one time. If you're a new player, you pop in, you're like, bro, what is even happening? So I do understand that might be why, but you can still obviously see the box in the shop. Okay. I wanted to make this podcast a little quicker. Again, I started late, so I do apologize for you guys starting so late. I had some stuff come up, but I do want to make this podcast a little quicker. Let's get to some of these other comments in the chat here. Again, if you want to be in the chat, hanging out with us, consider becoming a member. It not only supports the channel, but it also supports the content that I create. And you know, you get some other goodies too. So check that join button down below. But let's look at some of these comments and then we'll hop into the next topic here. So the Muppets to me is going to look funny because the Kermit meme gifts, but I'm sure they're going to be hype. Yeah, that's what I don't know. It's kind of like if they were to put like Sesame Street in. It's kind of like, it's like, would they really fit a racing thematic with this game specifically? I think Speedstorm is more of a serious vibe. And I don't know if Muppets could like pull off that vibe of like, I'm serious. But I do know there's like Muppet cartoons, I believe. So maybe in one of their iterations, they are more serious. But I just don't see them being that serious when it comes to that. Hey, what's up, Poke? I'm late. That's all right. I was late too. Look. That's okay. That's okay. I appreciate you guys being here. I don't know how many hours late it was. It was pretty late. Also, again, if you guys are missing out on the frames, I do apologize. YouTube is kind of acting up. I mean, if you're watching the recording, you won't even see it. But for those of you that are watching right now, I think I'm dropping frames a little bit, but I don't want to try to tweak with it now just because we're so late recording it anyway. But hope it doesn't look too bad. Hope it doesn't look too bad. I have to fix it. I don't know what's going on with that. It's been like that for a while since I've started streaming a couple weeks ago. Even in the collections where Eve is hidden, she looks so cool. Super excited to take her on the tracks. Yeah, she that's rough because one part of me is like, she looks cool, and the other part of me is like, I don't want to deal with you. You know? like every game that drops new characters is like that. It's like, bro, you look cool, but you also look like I don't want to deal with you. So like, where's the give and take here? But hopefully that brings some new players to the game. Hopefully they don't make the event too difficult for people. Hopefully they just go with the flow. They give people some free stuff. They make the event to unlock her, like for real. unlock her 10 stars, they make it easier for all these other players, and they don't really make it too hype, or not too hype, but too crazy. Because, good lord, Wally, people were stressing out like crazy because they made it lower. I know Gaston, I believe, was lower. Hades, I think, got lowered. So we have to see. What if it's like top 1%? What if it's like top 3% and then top like 12%? Oh God! Don't do it, Gameloft. Don't you do it? Don't you do it? I think they gonna do it. I had a brain fart and thought started half past the hour. Oops. No problem. No problem. Okay, so we talked about that. We talked about the Eve predictions. We talked about when she might be coming. We also talked about how she might be given to players, what the event might be like. We talked about if she's going to be in the shop for purchase. We also talked about Ursula. We talked about her character design. I also want to just kind of add with that Ursula thing. Maybe it's me, but I feel weirded out when I see her tentacles hanging out on the side of the card. Again, it could be me, but it just felt weird. It was like, I don't really want to play you because it feels weird to look at your tentacles hanging out. Now, I'm not saying I have a thing about tentacles, but just the way that hers looks when you race is weird. And it's weird to me. It's not normal. So, you know, maybe they could have just made it more stagnant. Maybe they could have like had it more out, like more of it, but it's just like little hands. And I don't know, it's weird. It's weird to me. It doesn't creep me out, but it's just strange. And so whenever I play it, I can't really focus on the race because I'm just thinking about how awkward it looks to me when racing as that character. So, but I do think once she like does a trick and pops out, I think it's better. But just having her little tentacles hanging out, it's just weird to me. So that's the one thing I wanted to say. Let me know in the comments or in the chat if you guys are watching it, you know, in the premiere. How do you guys feel about the Ursula tentacles? Am I just strange? Am I just crazy? Or do you guys feel some type of way about that too? All right, let's move on to the other segment, which is going to be comments from the other one, the other podcast. If you guys don't know, we always do a section of my video or of the podcast where we look at the comments from the last video, from the last podcast, and we go over it and we talk about it and we you know, give our thoughts as a whole together. So Cozy Cat says, Cozy Cat has been commenting on like everything, by the way. So even games that they don't play, that they physically can't play, I've noticed they've been commenting. So, you know, shouts out to you, Cozy Cat. Thank you for watching all that stuff. I know you know, and there's probably a lot of you guys that watch a lot of my stuff, but I know sometimes it's a little bit hard to watch other things that you're not interested in or you're not playing. So those of you that do, you know, I always appreciate that because it's rough. It's rough. I know it's rough, but you know, if you guys enjoy my content in general, it's not much different. I'm just gaming. We all gamers. But Cozy Cat says Speedstorm has low key been dry. Now, that's toxic, by the way. But let me make it less toxic because that's kind of toxic. So with content being dropped, Speedstorm is a little. I guess that's hard. I guess you can't really say it without like being toxic, huh? We know that a lot of the hype and a lot of the events and a lot of the come play our game type of like style hasn't carried on through all these seasons. One of the reasons for that most likely is because the game is losing players. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but like I said in the last podcast, it doesn't mean they're losing players because they hate the game, they hate Gameloft, they hate monetization. I mean, you know, that's some of the players' reasons behind it. You know, the game being ran poorly and decisions being made. But people just lose interest. There's so many games people lose interest in. Suicide Squad had a lot of people playing it at the start, and then a lot of people beat the game and then stopped being interested in the game. Doesn't mean the game sucked? No. Doesn't mean, you know, it just said they got other stuff to play. There's so many games like that. Helldivers, Power World, like all of these games, people, like if you look at the numbers, because some of these developers actually give you numbers. I know Speedstorm is hesitant to give us any of their numbers, so we have to get it off of Steam. But a lot of these other developers will be frank with you and just give you the numbers. Fortnite does it too. Fortnite will show you the numbers of people playing. And you'll see, like if they drop a new event or if they drop a new something, you'll notice the numbers start to dwindle. You'll notice that's not that they hate the game. That's not that they think it sucks. They just have their fun and they move on to the next one. That's just how it is. I remember when I was younger, I had a Blockbuster pass or a Hollywood video pass, and I'd rent a game and I would have it, you know, for 30 days, but you can take a game for free and then you would exchange it for another game. And you can do that as many times as you want. It was just a pass. I would do that repeatedly when I was younger. Does it mean the game sucked? No, I'd play the game and either I beat it and I want to get a new one, or I wouldn't beat it and I got bored. Doesn't mean the game sucks, it just wasn't for me. That could be also why Speedstorm loses players. Again, we do have people dislike things. That's just human. We all dislike a lot of things, and so that's why people do stop playing certain games. But the other half of that is just, it's not all bad. But now leading back into that comment, I was only saying that because it's possible that they see the numbers. And as I've already preached to you guys before, a few seasons ago, even before free to play happened, I've always said that they do this with a lot of their other games. You'll notice how infrequent patches become, and you'll notice how infrequent content drops are. And the longer and longer one of their games stays, the less and less amount of events that come. Obviously, there's no reason to continue up the hype in terms of content drops and like, oh my God, look what's coming. Look at, you know, there's no real reason to keep all that happening if there's no new players coming into your game. And if you're keeping the same amount of like player base. Most games have like a concurrent player base that just plays the game no matter what, every single day. Then they also kind of have that other concurrent player base that tends to come back to the game whenever they drop new things. It's possible they don't have a lot of numbers come back when they do certain events. So there's no real reason to continue to hop event after event after event after event, because they're not really getting any new players, but they're also not getting any players that originally stopped playing to come back. Now that's just talking, that's just hearsay. I don't know what their numbers look like in terms of if that would be the reason why they started to slow down. I'm just going based off of experience playing the game, and I'm going based off what I've seen playing the game. We started heavily with events in early access, heavily with events in free to play on season 4, and then as the season started bouncing around, we started to get less and less each like season and whatnot. Does that mean they're going to stop updating the game entirely? I don't think so. I think if they can continue to drop more Disney characters, people are going to continue to play and buy, because that's their concurrent player base. A lot of the players that are sticking around right now and playing almost every day are just players who like racing Disney characters. And so they can easily feed that by giving it more Disney characters. It doesn't even matter which ones they are, which is why I feel if they do Muppets, that's probably the reason. It's like, well, they don't care about what characters we drop in the game. They just want to see characters. Game Mom is like, well, cool for us. We'll just buy the cheaper ones. No, I don't know how that relationship works with Disney. I don't know if Disney just gives it to them or what. But it's definitely something to think about, because if we start getting characters that don't fit the Speedstorm thematic, it's definitely safe to say that they're just dropping characters for the people who already play the game because they just like racing characters. It doesn't even matter which ones they are. It could be troll, it could be whatever. You want to see Disney characters, they got you covered. They'll drop Disney characters. And now, if that were the case, then their job is to basically think, well, how can we kind of gatekeep you to play the entire season? Because you're most likely going to be the next person to play next season. That's the concurrent player base. That's what developers usually kind of strive for, and this is for me also working in the gaming industry, like, well, as a professional coach as well. But basically these developers, they do want to try to aim for that group that just will always play every day or every other day, but just always consistently comes back on a routine. Like, they want those people. That's who they're kind of trying to serve. Then you got the ones that will come during every event. Maybe you're one of those players. It's like, I don't play this game until they drop something new. I'll come play for a few days, and I'll come back. But they also know that you'll always be back when they do that. And then you have the new players where it's like, okay, well, you guys are just coming randomly. Like, I don't really know when you're coming. And if they start to notice that those two groups, the new players and the people that aren't coming, or the people that stop playing until the new event, aren't big enough to house event after event after event, they probably just won't do it, and they probably won't stick with their Speedstorm thematic. But I don't know. I don't think a lot of players that play Speedstorm, like I said, the concurrent, I don't think a lot of us would really care what they drop. I mean, I would, but I'm the one-off. Y'all know this. Like, Poppin is the one-off of everybody. Y'all say left. That your left? This is my right, but I think if you guys are watching it, yeah. Okay, so y'all say left, I say right. Y'all say jump, I say duck. I mean, I'm the most opposite person in Speedstorm, I think, ever. But that's because I keep it real. I don't see this game with rose-tinted glasses. I never will. But for the majority of players, dropping any other character in the game would satisfy you. It doesn't even matter which one it is. It can come from any Disney, whatever. It does not matter. So at that end of the day, that's what they're doing, right? And so looking at their other games, as I said, I looked at like 30 plus of their games, man. I looked at their patch notes, all back in from 2 to 3 years. You'll see it. You'll see them stop. You'll see them get to a point where they'll halt. I don't think they'll do that with Disney Speedstorm, especially because it's Disney. And so I'm pretty sure Disney would just tell them to pull the plug. And I don't think they'll do that. I think if it brings in, and I know this game brings in tons of money. I know that Speedstorm brings in tons of money. Like, if you ask anybody who cashes, bro, they're cashing over $200, $300. So if Disney's like, bro, all we gotta do is drop characters and y'all gonna pay us $400, $500 for these, I wouldn't stop that machine either, right? I would keep that machine dropping. So I don't think that any of Gameloft's Disney games have ever stopped, but their games that are for them have stopped. Their games for them have stopped receiving updates. If it's a Disney game that they've run, I hate the fact that it's run instead of ran. But the Disney games that they've run, they don't stop, but it becomes very sparse on updates and content updates. So keep that in mind. If you're playing Speedstorm starting now, or if you're playing for a while, you are going to get these dry spells like Cozy Cat says. Again, that's just how the game is being managed because there's no reason to do it. The concurrent base will continue to play and continue to buy regardless of what they do. And so why would they even take leaps of faith and risks when they don't have to? So toxic or facts? Wait, that's not a toxic. I'm not being toxic. I'm being honest. So, all right. That was that. I'm simply surprised to see how they put the top percent to unlocker if it's better or improvement, or for the Eve event. Yeah, that'd be pretty insane. I'm definitely. I think I'm not gonna revisit the topic entirely, but I think for the Eve event, they're gonna make you play Wally, and it's gonna be unregulated, which means that players who either bought Wally or players that just have more stars are gonna place higher. I don't think they'll do that. Honestly, I really hope they don't do that, but I just wouldn't be surprised based off what we've been seeing through events. I've seen and played every single event starting from early access. Again, I put a lot of hours into this game. Y'all might think like, Poppin, you don't know nothing. It's like I've seen every event, I used to do a video for every single event. Like every event I've played and seen since day one. I have not missed a beat. That's crazy. Now that I think about it, that's almost a year, if not a year, of every single event. I have not missed an event for Disney Speedstorm. Yeah, that's crazy. I need help. Where's that Michael Jordan gift? Stop it. Get some help. That's what I need help. But like I said, Gameloft knows. Dude, that's who they're serving. The people that don't miss no days. Oh, man. But like what Poppin said last week, there's only a couple things to do, and you're done. Other games have so much more to do. That one can get lost for hours playing and doing fun stuff. Yeah, that is it with Speedstorm. And again, it's a mobile game, so I'm pretty sure that's kind of what they're aiming for anyway. And it's low maintenance. If I know you're only gonna hop in for a few minutes, it's very low maintenance. Area was my main excitement for this season, along with finally being able to unlock Buzz. Oh, okay. Yo, what if Speedstorm had an open world adventure mode? I think that they would do a Grand Prix before they do that, but that would be interesting. Like kind of like Crash Team Bandicoot, kind of like Crash Team Racing, or Diddy Kong Racing. Bro, if any of you guys play Diddy Kong Racing, let me know in the comments below. Dude, Diddy Kong Racing was my jam. Dun 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 dun. Oh my, the boss races, bro. The boss races, bro. The genie that would ride the carpet, bro. The airplane, the boat, the little like the little inner tube boat. Oh my god, with the fan in the back, bro. They need to make a they need to remaster some of these games, or straight up just do. Or straight up just do some, like, remake some of these games, or add a number 2 sequels, because bruh, there's so many good games. Okay, anyway, next comment. Oh, this one's way off. Some comments are just bigger and smaller than others. I had fun in your stream today. You always think about great improvements for the game. Well, I appreciate that. I'm still enjoying it now, even if I'm not able to finish things due to not having a character or not having a level. And that's a good thing. You know, that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. That's a good thing that even if you don't have the characters to unlock, you're still enjoying yourself. It's unfortunate that Speedstorm doesn't really cater to those type of players like yourself. The ones that don't really have much, but they enjoy playing anyway. They cater to the people like me that have been playing for a lot longer, or they cater to the players that buy the most. Depending on how you look at it, you might think that is the way that the game's supposed to be. Depending how you look at it, you might think that's not how the game is supposed to be. But I wish they would cater to you guys more often. That's what I'll say. Don't have anything else to say on that, especially because I bring it up all the time. But I do think that they should really rethink their seasons for real. But it's possible they have another project, and we already know Disney is working on something else. So how much attention and money is Disney really gonna throw out this game? Triple B plays, thanks for the comment. Also, Cozy Cat, thank you for the comment as well, both of you guys. I remember reading this one, so this will be interesting. Well, the Daisy Duck Star Chaser event just dropped. If there's a regular one, I'm definitely getting Daisy this season. Also helps, there's 3 free shards for Daisy that just requires any Toy Story character. And I had a 2-star bow for quite some time. If the same is done for Minnie, then this is a good step in the right direction, especially because getting Minnie to the appropriate levels gives me an opportunity to unlock Woody as well, and I hope the event is the same. I'm crushed the last 2 Star Chaser events. Now, Speedstorm does this thing. And it's not necessarily a negative. I noticed that I'm losing frames because of exposure. But that's not really a negative. The longer you play the game, Speedstorm will take care of you. Or if you just cash, they'll take care of you. So if you started in season 4, you most likely already gotten taken care of. Your account's probably pretty decent. You started in season 5, you most likely, by now, you most likely have been taken care of this season. You got some good stuff, you know. And if you play in season 6, again, you got taken care of. Your account's probably like meh, but you still got taken care of to a degree. If you start in that season though, you're not taken care of. So it really rewards the players that just play forever, and it doesn't reward the players that don't. Or it will reward you if you just cash out the get-go. Now, a lot of us, at least Americans, actually, nah, I'm not even going to say Americans, because that's so inaccurate, it's ridiculous. A lot of us as humans, if we can do something easier, we will. Period. If we can buy something to make life easier, we will. That's why we buy things, right? That's why we get things off Amazon. That's why we get things off commercials. Y'all remember back in the day, those commercials with like the toll-free number? What y'all know about some Betty Crocker pots, bro? I was 10 years old over here trying to say, Mom, let me get them Betty Crocker pots. For real? No, I was. It looks so easy. Pour a little mix in there, pop that in the oven, and it's done. Like, bro, cookies. But I will say that that's just kind of how we are as humans, right? we're pretty pay for it to be easier type. When it comes to games, I guess for me personally, it depends on what it would be. I don't know. I personally would prefer to do the work for it, but my brain is still wired that way, right? Like if I think about it, home appliance, I would buy it to make it easier, right? Why would I do this? That's how stores are. Like, why would I do this myself when I can buy something that makes it easier? That's why we get DoorDash, you know? That's why we do all these things. So that is something about Speedstorm, right? It's like if you've been here for a while, they know you're part of that concurrent player base, which means we need to make sure that we cater to you. The longer you've been here, the more respect you basically earn from them. That's not true, but that's just kind of just, respect is not the right word, but I'm just gonna use it. And then if you pay, obviously a lot, you get to that point faster. So let's just say I started, I don't know, January 1st, right? And I've been here for a month. Now I'm on February 1st. Well, if that same person on January 1st dropped $100, they got boosted to February 1st. So the person that started at February 1st that's free to play are still making their way to February 1st, whereas the person that paid on January 1st just got a $100 pack that shot them to February 1st. Does that make sense? It's basically like you're paying to catch up to the rest of us. The more money you put into this game, the more you're going to catch up. The less money you put into the game, and the earlier you start, basically towards the now time frame, the less that you'll be able to do that. So that's why Dead Wave, you're experiencing that, is because you've been playing for a while. I don't know how long, you know, but I'm going to assume it's been a season or two. So you're good to go. But for players that start this season, they're not going to really feel that happiness that you're feeling. But again, they got packs in there for you to buy to catch up to the players that played last season, or to catch up to the players that played the other season. So, you know, we got to keep that in mind as well. Talk about exploring movies universe and have them blend into each other. I don't think they'll do that. That's the thing that I noticed about Gameloft. I don't even know if it's Gameloft or it's just Disney Speedstorm. Or not, I don't know if it's just Disney. But I don't know, because Disney takes risks. Gameloft, I don't think takes risks. But again, I'm pretty sure there's a chain of command they have to follow. So I don't want to talk out of bounds here. But I do want to say I've noticed that they don't take risks. They will for sure they'll take the for sure paycheck, or the for sure check from you, rather than saying we took a collective amount of money, let's do something positive with it and try to bring more players. Let's do something positive with it and try this new thing. It might put us below, but you know, we feel like we can really make it, give it a shot. That's not how Gameloft really runs its games. Looking at their patch notes and whatnot, what they usually do is they'll say, hey, we're making money. Cool, let's just keep doing this same thing. If we stop making as much money, let's figure out a change. If we don't, let's figure out how we can make more. And then that's just kind of the game. It's not about how to improve the experience for players. It's not about how to make new things and make everybody have a good time. It's really just kind of about what can we do to keep the consistent revenue. If it's not meeting up to standards, what can we do to change that? And we already seen that in the seasons to come. You guys can see that already, right? You can see the changes through the seasons of what is like, ooh, we're not making that money. What can we do? Bam, put that new event there. That makes you cost. Bam, lower the time trials for people. Bam, make a crazy event that requires characters. Bam, make a chapter that doesn't requires this, but put the pack in the shop. Bam, let's make it so you can get upgrades. Bam, they have to continue to do that because that's how Gameloft runs their games. If they get to a point where it doesn't meet expectations and then they do something and it still doesn't, I think that's where they like, okay, let's slow down and roll. Let's slow our roll a little bit, and we'll just kind of let the game marinate. Again, I think their main focus is the people that play consistently. Even if they don't update as much, you have consistent players that will spam the game anyway. Every game has that type of audience where it's like, no matter what they do, no matter how long an event takes, the player will play and play and play and play and play and play and play until they get a breaking point and quit. But the fact that Disney Speedstorm has a lot of characters and they reset your rank, they're kind of like people who like to climb the leaderboard. They kind of are enticing you to do it. And then for those of you that like the offline play, the season tour, they're enticing you to come back and play. And so you're that core audience. You're that audience that they're continuing to cater to. And the longer you continue to play the game, the more you'll be inside of Dead Wave shoes here. And you will get some of the characters that you want. And obviously, if you pay, you'll get them. So we'll see. Disney Infant Disney Infinity got the plug pulled? Really? I didn't know. Well, we played Diddy Kong Racing and still has it this day. I've beaten it and played it repeatedly. Like, that is my game. Man, I love like really good solid kart racers, man. Like, I really do. I played a lot of them back in the day. But that's something that always like had me feel this type of way about Speedstorm, is because I was so hopeful when I first started. Like, y'all don't know, my eyes were lit up. I was just super happy. I was like, dude, this is the coolest game ever. This is awesome. And then it kind of felt like that thought got ripped out. And so that's why, you know, sometimes I feel a little sad about it. But I've learned to accept it since then, though. So I'm not really tripping too much. This is why you don't really hear me talk about, oh, I really hope they do this. I really hope they do that. It kind of just got to the point until I see otherwise where it's like they're not going to. So there's no reason to hope for it, and just take it for what it is. And I don't think that's how a live service game should ever be. I don't think a live service game should be like, all right, players, don't expect anything. It's kind of like, what? You might as well just be a box game. Why would you box game with DLC? Why you live service if we can't expect some crazy stuff other than characters? So, anywho, that was it. That was it for the comments. That was it for everything. Again, I knew it was going to be a little bit quicker this time. I mean, technically, we almost reached an hour, so it's not that much quicker. But we had a lot to talk about. We got a lot off our chest. Again, if you guys want to become a member, so you can sit in with the chat as they're doing here. I know a lot of you guys are actually lurking, because you guys like to lurk and just chill and relax. Make sure you consider joining. Click the join button down below. You can sit in on these podcasts. There's also some other stuff in there as well. But I do appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, I did push the recording time back, and you know, I really appreciate you. That shows just how much you guys like really care about these podcasts, really care about hanging out. So again, huge shout out to all you members that are here, lurking or not. Thank you guys for all being here. If you guys haven't checked out the other podcasts, checked out those other podcasts. I'm not talking to members at this point. I'm talking to you that's watching the recording. If you haven't checked out the other podcasts, check them out. We got some stuff going on. Otherwise, I will see you next week. We'll have more talk about the EVE event coming out. We might have more talk about other events as well. But we're going to have to see. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, you know what I always say. Thank you guys for doing what? Popping often. Well, often. Thank you guys all for being here and watching.